Hi, I'm Damon Steer, a reporter with the Conway Daily Sun, and I'm here with Conway resident Tim Quint, who's here to tell us about his dog park project. Thanks
Morning,
for coming.
Damon.
Good morning.
Thank you for hosting me.
Absolutely.
This morning. It's my pleasure. This is a passion and a labor of love up to this point, and we're continuing every day to do what I can to promote it and get it established.
For the people who might be hearing about this for the first time, can you tell us where the dog park will be and a little bit about it?
Sure. Its location is just outside of Conway as you're going towards Freiburg, and it's on the new Tom Steele Way. And where the old waste treatment plant was is a beautiful 2-acre cutout that the town donated to the project. And it's one that I presented the idea to John Eastman and Mike Lane. In November, they thought it was a great idea. Next step, Town of Conway Council went before them, and they unanimously approved the idea. Go see what you can come up with. So I then took those months of December, January, February to canvass the area. I put in 6 or 7 popular locations, a sign-up sheet that would show people that supported them. I talked to 5 or 6 business people in the area to see what they thought, and they were 100% behind it and are going to help me do it. And then just general word of mouth, and then of course some articles in the Daily Sun were terrific, and I'm just trying to get the word out there. It's really divided into 3 phases. Phase 1 was make the proposal, get it approved. That happened, and this fall we want to make sure that the water system is in, and the town leveled the surface. We're going to have loam brought in. We want to hydroseed it so we have new grass in the spring. And then starting in December, and well, actually starting on March 25th, when we got it approved, fundraising. So I've been reaching out to businesses, family, friends. I have a packet that I present to each business that I approach at the time. I follow it up with a meeting the next week to discuss all of the project or what it's going to involve, what it's going to be like, and then see if a donation can be made.
And where are you? What do you need to raise, and where are you with the fundraising?
Well, $62,000 for the project, and right now I'm just ready to top 10,000. And
I believe you've said that this is not going to cost any taxpayer money.
Correct. From day one, when we approached the town of Conway Town Council, I pledged that there would be no tax money involved at all. It'll be purely fundraising, donations. I have a program that you can donate through signage of advertising your business, banners, you can advertise your business. Of course, donations are always welcome. And so there's different avenues to give money, and any amount is appreciated, much appreciated, and welcomed.
And for the town labor, like that was paid for through the donations, some of it?
That's been kind of a give and take, yes.
Okay.
Like for instance, the water system we're putting in. I'm paying for all of the piping and that type of deal. The labor remains to be seen, because all I asked in the beginning to the council, and I stated to the town, just treat me like any other park that is under your jurisdiction. And usually I think that means 2 mowings a summer and things like that.
And so what do we have here? So we have a little spot for small dogs, and that's 8,460 square feet. We have an agility park, which I guess it'll be like things that the dogs can run and jump over, and we have a large area that's 79,985 square feet for large dogs. And looks like they have climbing ramps and a raised resting platform. There's shade, a large agility tunnel, large agility logs, a water station, so your dogs can get a drink.
Correct.
Can they kind of clean up too?
Well, we also have 2 wash pads outside the. You may not see all these amenities because they're really divided into in-park, out-of-park. Outside the park, on each end of the walkway into the park, we have a wash pad for each side, so that if your dog gets muddy or you want to hose off the paws or whatever, that will be there for you.
And the Angel Park, remind me what that.
Okay, the Angel Park is in concept going to be that area fenced off that will be for dogs that don't want all of the action that the other ones probably will be at. You know, the older dogs, they're more dormant. They just want the opportunity maybe to come in, do their sniff thing. We'll have beds in there for them to lie down on. We'll have comfortable furniture for the people that accompany these dogs where they can sit and hold the dogs if that's best. And it will be even the outline facing the remainder of the park is going to have trees and shrubbery so that even the commotion outside the fence won't be visible, won't be there, and it'll act as kind of a noise buffer too. And if you don't mind, I'd like to add a little bit more on the, we divided the small dogs, large dogs by weight, of course. I think that's 30 pounds and under for the small and 30 pounds and over for the large. The agility park is kind of a new concept in that I equate it to like pickleball, where more and more people are training their dogs in agility runs. And you see it on TV. The AKC recognizes that as a sport. And it's remarkable to see what these dogs can do with this agility equipment. Weaves, even what we call seesaws, running through tunnels, jumping over hurdles. It's quite an event. Matter of fact, we're going to host an agility competition at Tuckerman's later in the spring, and we're going to host a competition at the park when it's fully grown.
And when you say we, who's we?
The park. I'm sorry.
Park.
I mean the park of this park will do just that. And then as far as the in the large and small parks, they'll have the same amenities of water stations, hoops to run through, logs to climb over. They're going to have a sandbox in each one for hopefully the minimum digging, things, the tunnels. And so, we want to make toys out there for them as well.
Is there any more news on where we are and what our next steps are? And when it might be completed?
Yeah, I've got a time schedule that if I can raise the money necessary, then I will put that first post in as soon as April as we can. We'll do the fencing first. And then we haven't mentioned that I'm very partial, and a good part of this concept is to accommodate the handicapped, and we'll make everything wheelchair accessible. Because, it was interesting. In most of my first conversations with people, the public, they would say, well, we live in the most rural area in part of the state, and why can't you just pull over, let your dog out, they run off leash in the woods, you go right after them, you have a great time, or there's trails everywhere. And that's true, except someone like myself with the disability I have, I cannot walk on anything but a firm, flat surface. So this area doesn't accommodate handicapped people. So this park will have the industrial rubberized mats coming right out of when you get out of your car. You'll be able to enter each park separately on the mats, obviously wheelchair compatible. The entryways will all have the mats. There'll be mats getting you into each park, and then there'll be a couple that are spread out periodically in the park. So if you wanted to change your location to another area with your dog, you could. And then the last thing we're doing is, again, the public, when I talk to them, gathering support, well, are we going to have any walking trails? And I said, well, I can't accommodate those because I don't have the land to do so, but, and then I put together a walkway that is going to go on the inside of the park, 8 feet wide. It'll be packed stone dust, so it's nice and firm, and that will accommodate wheelchairs or people that want to walk while their dogs play, and it will allow anyone in a wheelchair to reach any place in the park that they might have to go. And so, you know, that was big in the plans, and we're going to stick with it no matter what it costs.
And the other part of it is, like you said, people think that you can just let your dog run free anywhere, but the fact is there are a lot of tourists, you know, in Whitaker Woods that I hear about, in other places in town, conflicts between loose dogs and walkers and bikers and everybody else, and skiers.
That's a great point, Damon, because you're right. For those of us that own dogs, I own 3 golden retrievers, and they need at least 2 to 3 times a day where they're off leash and you can just rip it. But more and more, every place we go, Whitaker, the Landing, the high school, all these venues, you run or you bump into people that don't like dogs, or they're worried about dogs off leash, and they really give it to you. And so I'm trying to relieve the stress where dogs will have a place to go that'll be safe for their environment. And as I said in my proposal, you have the right as an individual to never step in this park where the dogs are free. And you don't have to spend a dime for a donation to this park if you choose not to. And it's completely to alleviate that stress between the two owners and non-owners, to be honest with you. And there have been some close calls, believe me.
Let's see, what else can we ask you? And so you've loved dogs all your life? And like, how did this idea come to you originally?
Oh, well, it was later, and you know, as my kids got older and they leave the house, we kind of adopted dogs. So it's been in my adult life when we were in Durham. Since then, we've owned 7 golden retrievers. We own 3 now. And so I'm passionate, but it's not just for me by any means. It's for every dog that comes into this valley that needs a safe environment. So one of the other appeals that I'll be making later in the fall or early winter will be to the hotels, motels that are pet friendly and are always saying, well, where can we take our dogs? And if I owned a motel, I would say, well, here are the venues, but you need to know, it's hard to have them off leash in a lot of situations. So that's another plus that we're trying to give the valley to accommodate the tourists as well as, our friends. And so when Jan and I, my wife Janet Rainey, moved back to the area, we had bought a house in 2014, and I both retired by 2018. So since I got here, I've had this dream for a long time and felt now that we're home that, and the town needed it. I mean, I can give you a list of all these amenities that the tourists and us have to fall, winter, spring, summer, the trails, the rivers, the lakes, all these things that we can do in really not one public dog park. So I felt in fairness to dog owners, and last year they had 860 76 registered dogs, that you could have a safe environment to take your dogs and get them what they need. And that's why I was so insistent on making it a public dog park, because we never had the intent, or I never had the intention of servicing just one area. And by going public, it involves the whole Mount Washington Valley. So I'm talking to people up in Intervale and Jackson and Bartlett and come one and come all, as far as I'm concerned. And in my booklet, you will see I really want this to be a gem of a dog park where it's going to be talked about, and more than that, it's going to be well attended so that people get the enjoyment of it as needed by their dogs. And so I'm hoping that helps out on the advertisement as well. And I will not open it until it's completely done. You know, there won't be fencing and then go to it. It's going to be completely done, and that's why I'm so aggressive on raising the money, because I want to drive that first poll in April to get it done.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to touch on, and one of the things was, even though I wanted to say that you're a longtime Conway person, not just coming back from Durham in the last few years, but your family has a long history in Conway.
Correct, and as does my wife, Janet Rainey. We grew up together. I was born here, native here. Proudly went to Kennett High School, graduated, and then we both left in '70 after we got married to pursue our professions. And she was a very successful worker in the phone company, and I taught public school for 34 years. And I had to get done with a little, for physical reasons. She continued to work 39 years for Marbell, or the telephone company, and then 11 years for the state of New Hampshire. But we knew this was always home. We frequented back here. My mother was here. My family was here. And it was always home. I used to bring day camp kids up for weeks. We'd be up in the Paso Conway camping area for a week. You know, kids as young as 5 and no older than 12, because it was that age day camp. They fell in love with it. They're coming back as adults. So Conway has always been home, special, and I wanted to give back to the community in a need that I think they need.
And just for the sake of disclosure, Tim was my middle school gym teacher, and he was one of my favorite teachers over at Oyster River. So I definitely appreciate seeing him around and having him here.
It's good to see you, Elvis. I mean, what's the chance, right?
Right.
That we both end up in this special place. So, by the way, I answer my phone every day when someone calls me by "Hello, it's another day in paradise," and then they start their talking, you know, because it really is a special place.
I always want to call him Mr. Quint, because that's
yeah,
that's how it was growing up, and I think he was also my first boss. I was the ball boy for the soccer team.
Yep.
And that allowed me to save up some money for hockey equipment.
Yep.
So
No,
I very much appreciate Mr. Quint.
well, you're a good student, great kid, which is even more important in my mind. And yeah, you did a good job for me when I needed it. So.
Yeah, and so I wanted to get that out on the record, that I've known him a long time and really respect him and thank you. And we do have to brag about, and Christian was on my high school hockey team.
Yes.
And we got to brag about Darren a little bit. I believe he is in the Hall of Fame for hockey.
Yes. He was like, he lived his dream.
And that's his son, Darren.
Yeah, he lived his dream, and that's all. As a parent, you hope for two things: your kid's happy and he's healthy. And he was fortunate enough to play in the NHL for 10 years, and then on that strike year in '15, he went over to Europe and played in Berlin. And in the next fall, they were still on strike, but the league in Germany said, if you sign a contract, you cannot go back if the strike is settled that year. So he signed a second year on the recommendation of his agent. Come to find out, They did settle in like 2 or 3 weeks, but he stayed there. Absolutely loved it. It was a great venue. They won, it's in the DHL. They won 4 championships. And then that was all, he was working to go and play in Russia in the KHL. So he got the opportunity. He was going to do it for a year, maybe 2. He ended up doing it 7. Became the most games played by a northern or a west country, and did very, very well. Was a good ambassador for us and loved every minute of it. And then his last year, ironically, a former coach in Berlin called him and said, "Hey, can you come in for 1 more year?" It was the Red Bull team. He said, "We've won it last year. If you'll come work with the young guys and play, I think we can do it again." And they did it. So it was a great way to end a career.
And I believe he tied the record for fastest goals, 2 goals in 4 seconds.
Correct. Yeah, he did that. They were playing in Winnipeg, and he did.
And he was on the Phoenix Coyotes at the time.
Correct. Winnipeg moved to Phoenix after his rookie year, and he was there 6 straight years, and then he got traded, which from day one his agent said, "This is a business that you will be moved around." And as it turned out, he did, but enjoyed every city he played in, Chicago, New Jersey. He played in Columbus. He spent 2 years there because they were an expansion team, and he actually led that team in 2 years in a row of ice time. And so he thoroughly enjoyed his career. There were a lot of ups and downs, but there would be in any business, and that's a high pressure job. But he learned a lot and has no regrets.
And I hope to see your sons over at the grand opening.
Oh yes, I hope so. I'm shooting for June 1st, which is my mother's birthday, and she passed 2 years ago because she loved dogs. So we'll see.
Is there, just for everybody's awareness, and we might have touched on this earlier, that the fundraising is being done under the Friends of Conway Rec, is my understanding?
They're our fiscal agent, which gives us the 501c3 status. What my normal day is, Monday I take and do all my paperwork, letters of thank you and plan the week. Tuesday I deliver 2 new folders to 2 new businesses. And then Wednesday, I do 2 follow-up meetings with the businesses that I gave out the week before. Thursday, I go out and approach 2 new businesses. And then Friday, I do 2 more follow-ups from the previous week. So it's getting out there, trying to meet the people, sell the product, because as I say to them, I need the financial help. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Now, is there, I think last time we talked, you're working on a website or a Facebook page?
Yes. The town of Conway is going to do a drop-down with our dog park on it, so people can click on, get the updated news, and Facebook we want to connect with, and probably Instagram. That's all going to be done very soon because we finally have our kind of status that we need, and our budget is completed as far as I'm concerned. The other thing I do personally is every Monday I send what is called an update, and I fill people in on what's been happening the week before, just news, and always urging them to, if you know someone, if you know of a business that I haven't gotten to yet, send it to me and I'll get right on it.
And for people who might not know, want to give us directions to where Tom Steele Way is?
Sure. Yes. Well, if you're coming down or out of Conway, you pass the Humane Society, and almost immediately is a right, and it's called VFW Way. And you take that right and immediately there's Tom Steele Way, and you drive down that all the way to the end. I think it's a good quarter mile in, and it just opens up, and you'll see the outline of what we're doing. And that's the other thing. I met with the Humane Society yesterday. They're the new director, and I've offered them the dog park to service their dogs in any way that we can, because they're doing God's work, and these dogs, if they need to come over and just rip it for an hour in either one of the venues, you know, they've got carte blanche to come in and do what they can. I'm donating to them 2 banners, one for their Humane Society and one for their vet service that they have, to give them the advertisement. You know, we're kind of not battling, because that isn't what this is about, but you know, they're obviously need donations. I need donations, so I don't want to tread on their feet. So I'll have a relationship with Lauren that will keep me in touch on what they're doing and what I can do maybe with them. You know, sometimes these fundraisers they use, they'll let me set up a table that has my banner on it, seeks donations, got, you know, literature on it, but, you know, that's kind of a competition, so she's got to make that call.
Do you need volunteers, and how are you going to maintain it? I guess I know the town's going to be responsible for some, like the mowing and stuff, but
yes, I've put out a request, and actually I'll be contacting the Sun, because I want to advertise for 3 days. I want to set up a committee of 8, and I want 4 that would volunteer to do nothing but fundraising, you know, starting, middle, end. I want 2 that will write grants, help me write the grants, and then 2 that will be event planners for us, because, you know, we're going to want to do things to generate funds for us. I just saw a remarkable AKC competition on Sunday, and it's the fastest dog competition. And what they've done is train these dogs to follow like you're at a racetrack, a rabbit. And these guys just ripped it. You know, they ran the distance. They never did give the distance, but I bet it's 50 to 60 yards. And, you know, they were getting 5.8 and 6.1. And, I mean, they were just flying. And all breeds, by the way. And I thought, boy, if that's a competition, it would be fun to see up close and personal. So
absolutely.
I'm going to look into that in the AKC. They know all that stuff.
So it'd be fun to have, you know, big dog events right here.
Correct.
It would be like bringing back Volvo in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we're about out of time, and thank you for watching. Thank you, Mr. Quint, for coming in.
Always good to see you,
spending some
buddy.
time with us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.